Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today we have a very special guest with us from UK, Clément. He's the founder of Altcoin Oracle and is working as an ML engineer as well. In this conversation, we talk about crypto, his journey, space in UK, the overall ecosystem, and we also touch upon future possibility of ML as well as crypto. Watch the video till the very end, like the video, subscribe to our channel, and let's get started.
So yeah, my name is Clément, so I'm French. And I work here in London, so I've been working for 10 years now as a software developer, more precisely machine learning. So all the models where you train and test and deploy artificial intelligence models for different companies. And more recently, I've started this project called the Altcoin Oracle. So it's a media that just teaches people how to select altcoins. Based on fundamental and technical analysis. So people often think like investing in altcoin is risky. I would say yes, it is risky, but it depends on when you're buying, right? And what you're buying. So when is technical analysis and what is fundamental analysis. So I'm trying to write articles, machine learning models at the time, just to show how to pick altcoins, when to buy them, when to sell them. And that's all you need to know, basically. So basically, like de-risking your buy to make sure like you're buying at a low risk with a high upside potential, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, that's me.
Let's start with your journey. How did you first got introduced into crypto from ML?
So I think it was so that's interesting because I think it was like during the bubble, like just before the bubble of 2017. So 2017, 2018, like the market got crazy. And everybody working in tech started to buy. So I was one of them. So I started to buy during that bubble. Okay. So I've experienced like the upside and then the very dramatic downside that came afterwards. So that like massive crash. And then I stopped. So I kept some, investments, and then there are like two massive downsides that came after that. So 2019, we had like a massive crash of almost 80% on the altcoin market, Bitcoin as well, by the way. So 2019, 2020, and then I remember at that point I was like, this is buy zone, just because it was too low, too undervalued. And I heavily started to invest from that point. Also keeping in mind that you need to be anti-correlated to the media. So something I started to understand like quite a couple of years ago, like when the media start to say, it's amazing, crypto is the future, crypto is amazing, it's gonna go up forever. Selling zone, you need to sell.
Whenever masses do opposite to what masses are doing, have something 100%. Unique perspective about investing. Okay.
100%, man. I don't know what's your strategy, but I'm very anti-correlated. So you need to be a bit bold. You need to be a bit like, have like a contradiction mindset. So when the media are like, oh, Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin, is never gonna make it, buy zone. When it's the opposite, sell zone. So if you keep that mindset of like watching what the media say and just adapt, that's like literally like one of my strategies to do the opposite of what I read. I don't know. Tell me about you. Like,
I have felt that having a very strong conscience in this industry goes a very long way. Because in the very beginning, people were only the people who understood how the underlying technology works and how things are going to evolve, and what they just ignored whatever noise was in the market, whatever someone was saying on Twitter or anything. But just following the white paper, following the deep analytical aspect of how to what this could become in future, and they invested with that potential, keeping that potential in mind, and now they are reaping the benefits. Those are the true ones. Like in 2015 or when Vitalik launched Ethereum, how hard it would have been for him. Like the whole world was talking about, no one was talking about first of all crypto. He was writing Bitcoin magazines and all those things, and now after that few years down the line he is a billionaire. But his struggles during that time, creating a community, and when his own founders were fighting for ulterior motives and to keep that team going, that's where I also feel conscience plays a very strong role if you want to create something revolutionary.
Yeah, also you feel it on Twitter, like at the moment on Twitter or on social media. It's very hard to get attention around crypto because we're in the middle of a bear market. So people are not talking about crypto, and people can build. So the real people still here now, those people are the ones that who actually will last because they're still here during a bear market. And it's the same as an investor, like on Twitter, it's very quiet. It's a good moment for me. It's not financial advice. It's like my opinion is like when I see Twitter becoming quiet, green flag number one. Green flag number one. It means like tourists are out, and it's very good to see because that the big projects are being worked on at that specific moment, and like good investors are getting in at that specific moment. So I kind of monitor like people, CEOs, projects, NFTs, collections, all those things, like when they start and they launch in the middle of a bear market and people are still building without the attention, green flag. I start to get it. When did you start with crypto? When did you start investing?
So I started when I got my first salary. Before that, I was trying to invest in stock markets. But the day I got my first salary was the day I invested in crypto. So I started with a company called WazirX, which runs in India, and that was the only company which ran even during the time when government. So earlier, Indian government banned crypto trading in India for some time interval. Then they had to roll back that policy, and there was only one exchange which was working even at that time. So WazirX. So yeah, but as you said, I totally agree. The big waves or the tsunami waves come just after the entire sea has been silent and the waves have been calm. So yeah, it's a good wave which we can expect.
What's your repartition Bitcoin altcoin in your portfolio? Like roughly, like what do you invest mostly in Bitcoin or mostly in altcoin, and why?
So definitely Bitcoin, Ethereum. That's Bitcoin. I still feel that if in future things go well, then Bitcoin could be a store of value and could be used as a forex reserve. While first of all, we already mentioned, but nothing in this video is a financial advice. We are just sharing our educational bit and invest at your own risk. So yeah.
Just
a disclaimer. So yeah, Bitcoin, I feel it's a store of value. Ethereum, I feel, is the core layer, and if they are able to launch that beacon chain, and there are a lot of, it is a very large ecosystem. So definitely Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then I keep wandering around Solana. I also look at Polygon. Terra, I'm really interested, especially after they have been buying Bitcoin at such lots of Bitcoin to stabilize their Yeah, so okay, nice. So let's take a step back. We directly jumped into this, but let's start with your ML. You did aerospace engineering from University of Illinois. Then you became an ML engineer, and then you started core blockchain thing. So how are you managing that? How did this journey look like?
So so if you look at all my past experiences, they're all kind of quantitative. So I've graduated in math, then aerospace engineering, and then I did some engineering at Michelin, and then finally jumped to full software development positions, and then eventually machine learning. But if you look at the common points, and even the project I've started recently about data-driven analysis for coins, all those experiences, they're all quantitative. So it's all about like trying to quantify things, which I like. So all this journey looks weird to people because you're like math, aerospace, and then engineering, and then software, and then machine learning. But all this to me makes a lot of sense because like all those experiences, they're about like, you know, concepts and implementation of principles and trying to find hidden hints. And especially with altcoin, it's the best. It's a paradise for people looking for, you know, hidden quantitative hints to be able to invest. If you're after this kind of quest, so trying to understand what this event is gonna bring in terms of impact. If you're after trying to understand, you know, what indicator is important to the value of a coin. If you're interested, if you're driven by this kind of, you know, quest, you're in paradise. You're in heaven with the altcoin market. So that's why I've started to be fascinated by it, because it's very volatile. It's very hard to understand what is impacting what. And I just like this kind of recipe. So you have like a lot of volatility, a lot of questions, like what is the cause of this? And the altcoin market is the place for this kind of guesses and, you know, quantitative bets. So that would be my answer. It's like, so far, the altcoin market is the best place for quantitative guesses and quantitative bets and quantitative models and machine learning models. So yeah.
Okay. So we will come to machine learning and crypto at a later point. But first, when did you first invest and where did you invest? And what's your investment pattern? Like, you only invest in coins or you also go for L2 solutions?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly like you, man. So I've started with stocks the same way as you did. So I started with 100% focus on stocks. Even with this idea that crypto, you know, there's no fundamental, you don't really know what you own. I was in that mindset in 2017, 2016, like, I don't really know what I own if I buy crypto. So I focused on stocks. And then I had a couple of revelations, if you want, where I kind of realized that this is a tech theme. So you're buying like a tech product.
First of
when
all,
I understood this, I moved. Yeah.
So first of all, I want to highlight that I also thought, okay, what's the fundamental value in this? But I saw a post
What's your opinion about that? Yeah.
So I saw a post by CZ from Binance CEO, that anything can have value as long as people are using it. And Bitcoin, with such a huge adoption, if so many people are using it and they are willing to adopt it and they are willing to transact in that, that's the value. Ultimately, everything we wanted to create was a democracy. In democracy, the money was created just to facilitate an easier transaction mechanism. And now we are able to do that with a code. Then what's the harm? There is no government backing it, but so many people, along with a very robust technology, let's call it, with a robust technology, things are backing up. And now why not use this? So that's my thinking.
Yeah, and also when people say, you know, there's a common theme to attack crypto, and especially Bitcoin, saying, oh, you're buying something that has no value, that is not backed by government, it's a Ponzi. So all this, you know, like angle of attack is completely wrong, because when they say there's no product, there is a product. Like, it sounds like a massive amount of money, basically, like anywhere in the world, in a couple of seconds without banks. I can buy art. I can get a loan without a bank. I can do a lot of things. So very soon you will be able to do things like, for example, like preparing your death. So like have smart contracts to be able to kind of delegate or give all your assets to someone in an automatic way. So all this theme, like there is no product, it's nothing. It's not nothing. It does.
It is huge. It is huge.
It's the mother of all banks, and it should be valued $1 trillion just because of it. Just because it's it's big tech plus bank.
Technology
So
and how transparent it is globally, how connected it is
exactly.
globally. So I read a recent news that CNBC conducted an experiment to send some Ethereum, some Bitcoin from US Miami to Poland, a person, Ukrainian citizen, who was at that moment in Poland, and they completed the transaction in under 3 minutes, and the woman, she was able to withdraw that amount in cash from Bitcoin ATM all within 3 minutes. So that's huge.
Okay.
And this is not like you can transfer $100. The amount which is, you can transfer any amount of money within the same time span. So that's what I feel.
Yeah, and also in the war, so during the war, it's an amazing place to store value, because if the banks don't work and you just have your phone, you can go on an exchange, buy a bit of Bitcoin, transfer to a safe place, or even move your cold storage with you and just leave the country. So it's probably the safest place on earth to have like assets during the war.
Yep. Yep.
And also, like, last maybe question I would ask you is, or we could talk about, is around the environmental question. So there's a big question around, like, environment and the fact that maybe crypto is not friendly in terms of environmental aspects. What do you think about it?
So earlier, this was definitely the case. When Bitcoin and proof of work mining started, then some of the mining farms were consuming energy more than some of the smaller countries as well. But now we are becoming more and more efficient, and with proof of stake, the energy consumption has reduced drastically. The second largest blockchain, Ethereum, is transferring its entire operations to proof of stake consensus, and we have now other consensus which are even faster, like Avalanche has its own consensus mechanism, proof of history for Solana, proof of trust. That's something which is coming in India. I saw a white paper. Polygon, which is the one of the largest layer 2 solutions for Ethereum, they just announced $20 million and for going carbon neutral. So things are progressing, and this is way better than oil and gas. How much we have damaged through oil and natural fuels. So. And this is the thing which is not like limited in amount. Natural resources are limited. Technology is not limited. We can always keep on improving and always increase the efficiency of the things, how it work. And if we remove all the middle managers in between and make the blockchain even more secure and even more efficient, then think of it, how much manpower, how much industrial waste, and how much efficiency we will improve. And that's my view.
Yeah,
what about you?
Yeah, no, 100%. So especially around what you said around middle management, I think is really key, because you're getting rid of a lot of people that the fiat world is paying today to do things that are actually very damaging to the environment, like wars. So it's getting a bit political, but it's kind of true that the fiat world is actually like polluting a lot. So if you can replace this by an automated system, yes, it's going to use energy, but way less than what the current system is using to maintain itself. And it's very important, because I feel like the next couple of years will be about, Bitcoin is polluting a lot. No, it's polluting way less than what it's going to replace, what it should replace. And so yeah, that would be my view, is like, yes, it does pollute. As you said, we're getting better with all the new technology, Polygon, Ethereum, and the ways they're going to move. But also it's polluting way less than what it's going to replace. And that's an obvious thing that is missed most of the time in the media, traditional media, mainstream media. So yeah, agree with you. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. So since you analyze a lot of things with Altcoin Oracle, what is one of the most surprising fact or news which has come up in recent times, and the most surprising to you? What has it been?
So I think the one you talked about in the beginning of the video, which is Terra buying a lot of Bitcoin, is very interesting, extremely interesting, because it means that an altcoin is actually believing in the king, Bitcoin, to kind of secure their whole financial infrastructure, which is massive news. So when I saw that, I was like, wow. Like
let's go a little bit deeper into that. Let's get a little bit deeper. What's the implication of Luna Foundation buying so many Bitcoins, and how does it affect USD?
So I suppose first of all, it's giving credibility to Bitcoin by saying our stablecoin mechanism will be backed by Bitcoin, and we trust Bitcoin to be able to back or finance, which is huge, just huge, because it means like an altcoin and a foundation is actually deciding to back their entire platform and to choose Bitcoin as a backer is huge. I think just even as a symbol, and also it means to me it means stability for the system, because if you look at the way people are going all in, Michael Saylor, Terra Luna, even Tesla, so massive institutions and massive altcoin projects are actually choosing Bitcoin as a store value, and this is just a good signal. It feels positive for the future of the space.
Okay.
So what do you think about it?
Similar. I have a similar view that what you said, totally agreed. On top of that, it makes the USD coin way more stable in case that the price of Luna falls. There is an alternate measure that we can burn Bitcoin to stabilize their stable coin. So that's a really cool move. Securing your stable coin with one of the most stable assets, but that has led to the decrease in supply of Bitcoin and a lot of other issues. But I feel that now people are hoarding Bitcoin, even governments are hoarding Bitcoin. There are around $11 billion stored in central governments pockets in terms of Bitcoin all around the world. So that's huge, and this is going to increase. So that's my feeling.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. So yeah, that's one of the news that I thought was huge. Yeah, what about you? Did you? What is? Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about the implication. There are a lot of government bans which are happening around the world, especially in India. So recently, India announced a 30% tax and 1% TDS on every transaction in crypto space. So that is huge, and they are planning to launch their own CBDCs. So let's talk about what's the situation in UK and how is the government over there thinking, and what's your view that analyzing the whole economy around the globe, how's the government behaving, and can they really ban crypto?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So I can start with what's happening in the UK.
Yeah, let's start with that.
Because that's where I'm paying my taxes, so I can tell you about it.
Okay.
There are two types of taxes in the UK for crypto.
Okay.
The first one is when you buy and sell.
Okay.
And that's going to be capital and gain. So between 10 and 20%, depending on your salary.
Okay.
And then there's another tax when you're staking. So when you're in a liquidity pool or staking, say Cardano, and you receive a weekly rewards, that amount of money, so that rewards is taxed on income tax. So you get two different taxes. The first one is capital and gain. Second one is income tax.
Okay.
And that's very clear. So I suppose the situation in the UK is very a lot of taxes, it's being taxed, but it's a positive thing because it gives clarity and it gives good confidence in the way that the government knows what it's doing. It's taxing it. Okay. It means it's going to be adopted because if you tax.
Once they tax, they can't collect taxes on illegal things. Once they tax, they say it's legal. So in a not straightforward way, but yeah. So what's the rate? Is the rate similar to any other capital gains? Is the rate similar to any other income tax?
So on capital and gain, it depends on how much you're making as a salary. So if your salary is in a given range,
Yeah.
you're going to pay 10% when you sell. But if you make a lot of money, you're going to pay 20%.
Is that 10%
so-
equal to what you pay on your regular income, or is it higher for crypto?
No, so that's capital and gain. Now, if you're staking,
Yeah.
you're going to pay just like a salary. So when you're staking, you're going to pay taxes just like this reward was a salary. So in that case, you pay 45% of tax each, depending on your salary as well. So you're going to be taxed 10-20% if you buy sell capital and gain, and you're going to pay 45%, 45% on staking. So because it's salary,
That's
so it's not a tax.
Okay.
It's
so,
not a tax.
so but
It's
staking
not.
happens in an anonymous, decentralized manner. Okay. In most of
So,
the
there is a bot. So
Yeah.
you can stake in different ways. So if the staking is predictable and always the same amount ish, that's considered income tax. If it's an airdrop or an NFT airdrop, for example, it's not really predictable. So because it's not predictable with a given amount, you're going to pay taxes differently. And so the difference, I think, is that it's going to be capital and gain. So a lot of different cases. If the staking is predictable, liquidity pool, on-chain staking, all these things, income tax. If it's not predictable, like an airdrop or something you can't quantify before you receive it,
Capital.
you go back to capital. So
That's very evolved way of doing that, rather than doing a straightforward certain percentage taxation. So
in India, it's 30%? Or
yeah,
how does that work?
30% since starting this April 1st, 30% tax on entire whatever you earn, capital gains, and 1% on every transaction, irrespective of losses or so you can't offset your losses with the gains. Is that the case in UK too?
So
Can you
in
offset
the
your gains?
UK, yeah. So you're gonna pay the tax. So first of all, you get like an allowance. So the first, I should check the numbers, but I think the first couple of thousands, I think it's 12.5k.
Okay.
So if you make less than 12.5k of gains, you don't pay tax.
Okay.
And then above that, you start paying tax. So then you start paying 10 or 20%, depending on your salary. So you definitely pay the difference, right? So you buy, the coin takes 20%, you sell, you pay taxes on those 20% minus the tax allowance of 12.5k, if that makes sense.
Got it. Got it. There might be some changes in the number, but that's just a rough explanation of how things are working in UK as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And what about other countries? What do you think? Indonesia, such a low tax. Other smaller countries?
So I know about France. I know about France, and France is doing it differently. So they consider that everything that happens on an exchange is non-taxable. So if you go back from Ethereum to stablecoin, you don't pay tax until you really go back to fiat. So everything that happens on an exchange, swapping coins, selling for stablecoins, no tax. But moments where you're trying to withdraw actual money, so euros on your account, that's the tax moments. So that's where you're getting taxed. So it's very different. And then you have like Portugal, where I think it's not taxed at all. So it's the best place to go, I think.
Which one is the best strategy for government, according to you? Should they do something like El Salvador, adopt everything, make this legitimate and just take all the benefits of crypto, or they should regulate it heavily? And
it's a good question. I think like from my point of view, from my perspective, I rather pay tax, push in the direction of making the thing clear, legal. Participate to that movement of, okay, crypto is a thing, we tax it, there's a clear guideline, and I stay here because I want to participate to that democratization movement of, okay, it does exist, we tax it, people accept to pay tax. I want to be into, like, I want to join this kind of dynamic, because I think that's what because if everybody goes to El Salvador, you're basically sending a signal like, there's something dodgy, people don't want to get taxed. No, I want to get taxed. I'm fine. Altcoins will be securities. They will be, acknowledged as securities. Some will pass the bar, some will not.
Okay.
I will happily pay taxes on it. And I want this to be pretty clear. So that's why I'm staying. I will pay tax. I will be clear about it. I'm not going to try to optimize, because I want the space to grow and be, validated by the establishment. So
there shouldn't be a fight. There shouldn't be a fight between government and people. There should be a harmony and a way where we can all adopt this as quickly as possible and reap the benefits. No? Why put our efforts in banning?
So I think the tax makes sense, because you're saying, oh, it's an asset. You tax it. I think the next question will be altcoins and all the question around security, security law. So are they securities? Are they not? Should they exist? So all those ICOs, pre-mined, scams, you name it. Are those guys actually legit? Are they not? Will you lose all your money if at some point they decide that those coins are securities? So you're going to tell me what you think, but I will tell you what I think about it.
Yeah.
Yes, altcoins are securities. Yes, it's just like a stock. They need to be regulated, I think, just like a stock, and they will have to go through this process. It will be a bit painful because, it's not ready. Like some projects are a bit less ready than others. But I think, yes, there are securities. Yes, it will have to, evolve. And yes, it's going to be mainstream, only at this price, What do you think about altcoins? And
I feel since we are talking about security, it's not that the technology itself is not secure. It's about that people are not putting an effort to draft a secure smart contract, properly audit it before launching things, and have enough knowledge before they even go to the market. They are just ramping things up, just developing in weeks time and launching things up. So this whole space is moving so fast without any regulation. That's without any code of conduct. Let's call it. Let's not call it regulations. Yeah. So
exactly, they need a guidance, or at least like a set of
principles or
for ICOs, pre-mines, all those coins from Ethereum to the last altcoins, like all of them, they're all impacted because they're all pre-mined or ICOs or you name it. I'm not even sure I know the latest projects, but I think those are the principal ones. So pre-mined and ICOs, they need a regulation. That's it. Yeah.
Let's jump into a future a bit. You work with ML, right? Let's talk about ML plus crypto or blockchain technology. Is there any future which you can see? And if so, in which specific domain of crypto or DeFi specifically? Anything?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think a lot about this actually, and I see two different topics around it. The first one is for investment, so using machine learning for crypto investment, and then the other one is like projects that are trying to use ML on the blockchain to kind of automate some tasks on a ledger. There are two topics that today are quite young and not really mature, but both of them are interesting. So on the first one, so using machine learning for investment purposes, there's a lot to do, because all these questions of, like what indicator has the most impact on price, what's the most important thing that will predict the future of a altcoin project. Those machine learning, statistical learning questions like looking at signals and trying to decide which signal is more important to the price, or even like what's the best buying zone. Those questions, they are machine learning questions if you dig. So yeah, go ahead.
These things can really help benefit the regular investors, because they will be able to extract the full potential, and they will be able to profit from crypto in a much simpler way. Let's call it that. If there are services like this, or a portfolio management company which runs entirely on ML. Yeah.
Machine learning models.
Yep.
Yeah, and also, like a lot of things is done to trade, on a daily basis for day trader, but very little to, bet on 5 or 10 years. So today, if you want to find a website or a accountant that is telling you how to invest on 5 years on altcoin, there's nothing, because everybody is like focused and obsessed with, making like a profit daily on a daily trade. But machine learning models can also help you to decide an entry point on 5 to 10 years, just like for stocks. So yeah, that would be one thing I think.
But that would require a lot of effort, and even that is not so great in stock markets as well.
I suppose. It is interesting with stock markets. So because you can, for example, look at what's a good net margin and what's a good net debt for a company to perform. That's a machine learning question. I wrote an article on my website about it. So you can look at companies as they all have like a net debt and a net margin, and you can draw it on a 2D plot, scatter plots. And look at which one are performing, and ask the machine to find buying zones based on the net debt
correlations
and on 5-10 years. Yeah, exactly. So you can say, companies with less than 20% net debt, they're all performing based on thousands of companies. You draw them on a scatter plot and you find buying zone. This is the kind of stuff machine learning can do for the long-term investor. See what I mean? So just hints. It's the same for me. Like I see it the same way for crypto. You can.
What about any products in ML? Using ML plus crypto products, which actually people can use, like ML was used for Tesla.
AI.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know if you've heard about Fetch AI, which is a project I'm heavily buying. So it's a machine learning model embedded on the blockchain. So basically, like you have what they call agent in artificial intelligence, which is like an autonomous node that will take decisions for you and help you find, say, a plumber. So you have a problem with in your house and you want to go on Google and just find a plumber. Well, blockchain could just anticipate your need and kind of run all sort of actions, like for example calling the plumber, pre-programming the actual time for him to come to your place, and finally paying for you. So all these things today, they're not possible because things are too centralized and there is no entity like artificial intelligence entity running on a centralized platform. So Fetch AI would be the first project
I'll look into that. I haven't.
Yeah.
I think mixing oracles, ML and blockchain means oracles with ML, that could be one area. So for those who don't know, oracles are used to link real world data with blockchain. So yeah.
Yes. And actually, so it could be two ways. So the oracle can take the data from the blockchain and give it to the user, or the blockchain can take the data from the outside world to build predictions. So yeah, 100% agree with this. Like oracles can absorb the data from the real world and kind of predict the weather for let's say tomorrow and give it to you on your on your wallet. God knows what could be possible, but
this is pretty
this
interesting.
idea of yeah, go ahead.
This is pretty interesting. Like, ultimately, what is in a very crude way, ultimately, what is a machine learning model do? It just feeds on data and establishes some useful correlations. So, for feeding data, we can use Oracle. For running simulations, we can use any storage, anything, even blockchain. And with usage of blockchain, it becomes so secure that and so transparent that it's very beneficial, right?
Yeah, it's true. You also have like storage projects that are doing just like AWS today, but on the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just machine learning itself, it's also the storage of the data for machine learning projects, which is a revolution. So rather than having your data stored in a centralized cloud, you get your data stored on a ledger. So the machine learning model is running against data that is not pulled from a cloud centralized service, but pulled from the blockchain itself. All of this is in the future, 10 years, we don't really know, but
way
it's
earlier.
coming.
I feel way earlier. Well, this is pretty interesting. One point I just got, I haven't given a thought, I am just thinking as we are going. So if we use, since blockchain data can be made anonymous with Bitcoin Mixer and Tumblr services and all, and mixing that with ML, we can generate a very independent, a very transparent model where the data is less biased and there is less control of a centralized entity over that data. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's difficult to talk about it because the options are so endless that you end up being like I think I can't really grasp, the complexity of what's coming. Yes, and that's one reason to invest.
That's one reason which is stopping people from masses from adopting crypto technology as well. That's what I feel.
Yeah, so when this is happening, when you don't understand the technology, there are two possibilities. It goes to zero because it doesn't exist, or it goes to, it does 100x, like Apple. So personally, I don't really follow the guideline when I don't understand or I don't invest. I do the opposite. Like if I don't understand something, it means that
that's how you should do it. That's how everyone should do it watching it. If you don't understand, don't invest.
Cannot grasp like the entirety of the thing.
Yeah.
It's going to zero, or it's really not going to zero. So.
If you're not understanding, then it's gamble. But people say the whole crypto is gamble. What's your thought? I just feel that if you don't understand it, if you are not investing with a thought process behind that investment, then it's a gamble.
No, I'll give you an example. Like when I started investing in Ethereum, it was in 2018, so just after the crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like, I don't really understand that thing. Like, I remember being like, oh, it's a worldwide computer that runs on multiple computers and that can run calculations just like a shared Excel spreadsheet plus. And I remember being like, but I don't really understand like what it is, but I can feel, you feel like when you hear stuff like global computer or worldwide computer for the future, that is calculating things without the need of a human and kind of bringing smart contracts where you can sign something without any middleman. You don't know what you're investing. You have no clue, but you can feel, that smell of it's very cheap and it's doing something
difficult
that
to wrap your head around.
So I put a bit of money at that moment when I had the intuition that a global computer, distributed global computer was being built, and I cannot really grasp it, and I cannot really understand what it's going to do. I was like, and it's too cheap. It was like literally like all-time low-ish at that time. So like, okay, I'm going to put some money because it looks too big.
Definitely. If you don't understand and you still want to learn with that intention in mind, so I also started with what I can lose. So I put the money and just forget about this and just keep on learning. Since I have invested my money, there is a motive that okay, I need to learn about this particular stuff. So yeah, that's the way to go about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's the way to go
That
about
makes
this.
sense. That makes sense, man.
Yep.
Nice.
Any closing thought? Anyone who is starting in crypto, you want to say something for that?
Yeah, be careful of when you buy. That would be my
Not when
my,
everyone is talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Be careful of when you buy,
Okay.
because crypto is risky or not risky depending on when you buy. So if you buy at the top, it's extremely risky.
Mhm.
If you buy when it's cheap, it's less risky, and when you buy the bottom,
Mhm.
it's not very risky. So I would say you like not financial advice, just my guideline.
I will that add as a block letter. Say I will add a banner like
Yeah,
that.
you put a no financial advice in the middle,
Okay.
but check when you're buying. That would be my advice.
Definitely.
What about you? What's your advice?
Um, invest in fundamentally strong companies. What you actually feel that this has a real value. It's really difficult to grasp, like you mentioned. In stock market, we see that this particular company is making X product which I'm using, and I really like it. So there's other 10 people or 1,000 people, and I know that this product will keep on growing. So that's why we invest. But there is a little bit detachment from the reality, or we are not able to relate with crypto products in a way we are able to relate with the real world products. So that's difficult, but once you get into the ecosystem, you actually go through the depth of the technology, how things are working, then you understand, okay, what is going to make more sense. It's really difficult to judge at this point what will succeed 5 years down the line and what will be the entire nature of this ecosystem. But still you can make some pretty good guess that these projects are the most intriguing and most interesting ones to you, and invest only that amount which you can lose, which you can afford to lose. Don't put your life savings into that.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Nice one.
So, and
Cool.
thanks, sir. We had, at least I had a really
great.
good conversation.
I had a really good time, man. That was so cool.
Yeah, so
That's so good.
let's keep connected. Let's do
Yeah.
more such sessions, and all the best for altcoin. That's it, guys. Thank you so much if you have stayed till now. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Do check out Altcoin Oracle. Link is in the description, and see you next time. Thank you so much.